Today, we'll be installing a transmission cooler in the 5th Gen 4Runner. I'm going to show you how to remove the bumper to prep for the job, the best location and easiest way to mount the cooler, why I chose to route the hose a little bit differently than most people do. Stick around to the end because I'm going to share some tips that'll make this job go as smooth as possible. Hey everyone, Anthony with AZ Overland. Today we're going to be installing a transmission cooler on the 5th Gen 4Runner. Now, if you watch the channel, you know that I changed my camping setup. I am now towing a small camper behind the 4Runner. Ever since then, I've been monitoring my temperatures very closely for the transmission, and they've been climbing steadily into the 220s. Just recently, I took a trip up north. It was about 73 degrees outside, and my transmission temperatures rose to close to 233 degrees. Now, that's a little too high for me, so it got my butt in gear to say, hey, we need to really get this install done. Today we're going to focus on the install. I'm going to show you what cooler I chose and why I chose it. Also, I'm going to do a few different things in this video when I install the cooler. Let's get on to the install and let me show you what's going into the 4Runner. So this is what I'm installing today, and I've decided on, it's a Hayden transmission cooler. It's the number 678. This is without the bypass. The 698 is with the bypass. Now, because I live in Arizona in hotter weather, I've decided on the non-internal bypass. If you live in cooler weather, you may want to consider the 698. Now, this is an actual kit that came from a company called Fabrications. They actually included stickers with the kit. And this is a one-man show. This is not a big company, which are the companies exactly that I like to support. So this gentleman, Devin, who owns the company, has designed this bracket specifically for this oil cooler and specifically for the 5th Gen 4Runners. So the transmission cooler will fit on the bracket. The bracket will bolt up directly to the radiator support, and he also includes extra hose, the correct hardware to mount it, and an edge guard to put around those areas through the radiator support where you're running these hoses so they don't get cut up. Now, in the kit that Hayden has, they have a separate mounting kit, which are these ties that go through the radiator, and you can mount it that way, but I decided I want something a little bit more sturdy, so I went with the iconic Fabrication mount. Now, their kit also comes with these worm clamps. I'm not a big fan of these worm clamps, so I have spent a little extra money, and I got constant tension or constant torque clamps. I'll explain a little bit more about these as we do the install, but we're going to go ahead, head over to the 4Runner and do the install. So this cooler can be installed without removing the bumper. However, in other videos I've showed you this bumper can be removed pretty easily. So we're going to remove the bumper. We're going to spend the extra 10 minutes or so, and that'll give us full access to the front of the radiator support. So let's go ahead and do that now. It's a very simple procedure. All right, so looking at the front of the vehicle, there's these clips that are here, and they simply just push in. So we're going to go ahead and push all those clips in, and then we'll move on from there. Now that we have that part removed, we're going to take out these clips and this 10mm bolt that's in the center of the grill here. So these clips are a little bit different. You can just get a screwdriver, kind of pry up on them, and then pull out. All right, there's a few more clips inside. Let me show you. So to release the grill, the final clips, if you look straight down right here, maybe that's too bright. Right here, it looks like there are 2 on that side, and then on the front passenger side there's another 2. On the inner fenders on both sides, if you turn the wheel in, you'll have full access to these 10mm bolts. And I believe there's 1 or 2 underneath as well. Now the inner fender is loose. You can reach in and unplug the fog light. Now this simply pulls out. All right, so the front bumper is off. Like I said, it takes about 10 minutes. It's not really a big deal. Now we have full access to the condenser, the radiator support, and everything here. Now we can work cleanly and neatly. We're going to prepare the cooler onto the mount, and the mount will go into the vehicle this way for the 5th Gen 4Runners. So make sure that your lines are going to be heading towards the passenger side. And then the bolts can go straight through, but I'm going to put them in from the back. These are 10mm bolts. And we'll just go ahead and secure this up. Now that we have the cooler mounted onto the bracket, we're going to focus on prepping this area here. So we're going to loosen this, and then we're going to loosen the support here, which is behind the winch. We have this piece off. It has a clip underneath that clips right in here. And then this piece right here with the two bolts out, we can actually just pop that off. Then looking down, if you don't have a winch, you shouldn't have an issue. But I have a winch here. We're going to need to loosen a bolt on that side. So I'll get underneath, loosen that bolt so I can move this support out and then slip the bracket behind. And then the last mounting spot, looking straight down on the passenger side, is right here. Now that we have everything prepped, it's simply just sliding the cooler with the bracket into place. Now on the top left here, you'll see the bolt. That requires the spacer to go behind the bracket. Now looking at the bottom of the bracket on the left side there, that requires a bolt as well for the mounting. Last mounting bolt will be right at the bottom of this bracket here. So a few things I wanted to point out that I did probably different than others is there's a bracket right here, and it's got some sharp edges. Well, it had some sharp edges. I don't know if you can see it. Right, it has two ridges right there. And I took a little belt sander and I sanded that down on both sides, more so on this side, and then I painted it. So the hose runs very close to that, and I don't want my hose rubbing up against that. So what I did also, this is going to be the hose, I put another piece of hose around it and then zip tied it. Also, I'm going to be running my lines through here. You can see the top one already, actually. I didn't put the clamp on, but it runs up and through. This one runs down and through. And I'm going to come over to the left side. So I'm moving to the passenger side right now. Now, coming up, there's a huge hole right here. I don't want to go through the radiator support. It's a little tight of a radius, and it's sharp. So this is going to be my top hose, and my bottom hose will come right through here. And you can actually see I ran it. So it'll go through to the cooler and then down. Then I'm running them both down here, wide open. I'm going to tuck it in, and then I'm going to connect it to the radiator part, and I'm going to connect it to the line going back to the transmission. I'm going to show you that. We have the installation of the transmission cooler complete, and I want to take you on a little tour because I did things a little differently than what you normally see in the videos here. So this is the iconic Fabrication bracket. You can kind of see it here, has a spacer up here, and it really made the install that much more pleasant. Instead of fabricating my own brackets, it was well worth the time and well worth the money. So it bolts up beautiful, it's super solid, it's off the condenser instead of putting it on the condenser with the provided clips that they give you. And then what I did differently here is, well two things. Firstly, I bought my own clamps. These are constant torque or constant tension clamps. They are like worm gear. You can see it up here. However, they have a spring on them. And with the expansion and contraction of the line from the heat of the fluid, it'll keep a constant torque on there. And it won't shred the hose either because there's a band inside. I'll show you. Hold on real fast. Here's a close-up of one of the clamps. So it has the worm gear here, but you can see there's a band inside. So this never touches the hose. And if you've ever taken these off a hose before when they were tight, you'll see that it kind of shreds the hose. So this provides a nice protection. It's a wide band, and you get a nice torque with the springs. I use these for all my connections. So I have the hot coming in from here, and I have it going up and then the cold coming out from here. However, I'm going to take you into the car, but I'm going to back up so you can get an idea of where I'm going. So I have the full front of the car off. It was well worth the 10 minutes to take that off. If you're going to do this job, I strongly recommend you take that off. So there's two ways to connect your hoses, and I'm going to show you what most people do. And it's not wrong, I just decided to do it a different way. Coming up on the passenger side, up and over to the side of the radiator, if you look down here, you're going to see, I think I pointed this out early in the video, two hoses or two lines. One has a pink slash on it right here, and one has a blue slash on it right next to it. The pink or the red is the hot. That's coming from the transmission. It actually goes down and connects to the radiator on the bottom on the passenger side. It goes through the radiator transmission cooler, the built-in one from the factory, and then it comes up the blue line on the driver's side, loops down here, and then goes back to the transmission. So what I did was, I'm on the passenger side right now. I put the lower line through this slot right here. I put the upper through this slot, and you can see I put an edge guard right here. And I also put a protective hose on the bottom of the cooler because there was some contact with that lower bracket from the factory. So coming around, you'll see both lines. They don't go through the radiator support area. They come down, and then they loop nice and gently down here. Now we're going under on the passenger side, so you can get a better idea of where we are. So this is the wheel on the passenger side. I'm going to swing to the front of the car. So those are the lines right here, the two that I just showed you. And they did put a protective cover on those because they are touching, barely touching. But just in case, I want to always make sure that we're safe and we're not going to have any issues down the road. Then I ran that lower hose from the oil cooler, from the transmission cooler, above the sway bar here, and then it connects here. This is the driver's side, and this is the connection point on the radiator where the factory hose comes out and back to the transmission after it cools. And I actually left, you can see, the factory line right here. And the reason why I did that was just in case I ever have an issue, I can easily just reconnect it. So this comes out, it's already partially cooled, goes to the lower part of the transmission cooler that I just installed, and then it proceeds through the transmission cooler to cool it even further. Then the line comes out of the top of the transmission cooler, and this is the top line right here. It comes down, so we're back on the passenger side, and it goes right here. And I connected it in. I'm going to get a flashlight so you can see better. And I actually put tape. If you can see here, I put tape around. That's the factory line that goes back to the transmission after the oil's cooled, after the fluid is cooled. So I connected into that. So just to recap, the hot fluid goes in right here into the radiator. That's the factory in on the passenger side of the radiator. Then it gets cooled in the radiator, the internal transmission cooler, and then it comes out on the driver's side of the radiator right here and goes back to the transmission. But we just added another transmission cooler in line. So instead of going back to the transmission, it actually comes back up into an additional transmission cooler, which we installed, gets cooled again, then comes back down and then up and around on the passenger side back to the transmission. So we're cooled from the factory and we're cooled with the auxiliary transmission cooler we just installed. Right here, if you can see it with the bolt in it, that's the factory line too. So I can easily just put that right back up if I need to, and if we have any issues down the road. So that's always my plan B, always want plan B in effect. Now that I have the cooler installed, we have increased the fluid capacity for the transmission fluid, so we need to add some back in. However, with the sealed transmissions, like on the Toyotas, there's a very special method to do so. Now, since the 4Runner is due for a drain and fill, I'm actually going to do a full drain and fill. However, the same methods will apply, and I'm going to show you how to do this. My best estimate of the added capacity of the fluid would be somewhere between 3/4 and 1 quart. So if you're not doing a full drain and fill, and you just added a cooler, I would add between 3/4 and 1 quart back into the transmission with the procedure I'm about to show you. It is better to put a little bit more in and then drain out than come up short. All right, we're going to walk over to the passenger side of the car here. Okay, so passenger door, I'm going to get underneath. All right, so transmission pan right here. So there's 3 plugs, there's 2 plugs on the pan. This one is a 5mm Allen head. This one is a 14mm. That's the drain. That's the level set. And then the third one is the fill plug. And that's going to be located up on the passenger side a little bit higher. That's 24mm. So first thing we're going to do is take the 24mm fill plug out. Okay, so we're going to loosen this one up here. Nice gentle pressure. It came off pretty easily. Okay. That O-ring is in good condition. We're going to leave this one. We're not going to replace it. All right, guys, check this out. I'm going to be using a pressurized container. I don't want to be under the vehicle for extended periods of time. This costs like $35, and it's got all of these connections that come with it. I mean, there's a bunch more here, and then it just has, I'm probably just going to use this one. Just has a hose, put it right into the side of the fill, and then they're quick connects. All right. Okay, we have the transmission fluid back in the vehicle. We added extra. Now we're coming into the vehicle and we're going to start it up. Now there's a number of ways to do this. We need to get the transmission fluid temperature up between 104 and 113 degrees Fahrenheit. Now I have a Scangauge 2 on my steering column, and right now we're at 68 degrees transmission fluid temperature. So to get the transmission flowing through, we're going to go through the gears. So hit reverse, neutral, drive, I'll cycle that through again a few times. We're going to watch the transmission fluid temperature come up 40 to 45 degrees Celsius if you're in Canada or overseas. But right now we're looking in America at 104 to 113. We're getting close here. We need 2 more degrees and we're heading under the car. So 2 things to note. Make sure your car is in park before you jump out, all excited about 104, and keep the car running. So as soon as that hits 104, I'm gonna meet you under the car. Here we go. All right, guys. I got everything set here. We're gonna we're gonna take this out. Make sure your 5mm goes all the way in. All right, here we go. We're gonna clean this off. I'm gonna replace that crush washer. As soon as this starts to trickle, we're gonna put that back on. We're gonna torque it down to 15 pound-feet. And right there. Make sure you're on a level surface. That's it. Thank you for sticking around to the end of the video, guys. A few tips I wanted to conclude with to help your install go smoothly. Make sure when you're running your hoses from the cooler to wherever you decide to tap into that you're using gradual bends and that you avoid any sharp corners. Make sure you protect the hoses in any way possible. Consider using a different type of clamp. Something like a constant tension clamp are always good for applications like this. When you're refilling your transmission, because you added fluid capacity, make sure you're following the correct procedure. If you are in cooler weather and you're running the Hayden cooler, you might want to consider the one with the internal bypass, which is number 698. To make your install a lot easier, instead of fabricating your own brackets, consider using a prefabbed bracket like the one from Iconic Fabrication. As always, guys, I appreciate you watching the video and subscribing to the channel. Stick around for a lot more content. We're doing the transmission full drain and fill next, and I'll see you on the next one.